everyone. Welcome to the awesome day of FileMaker training. I'm Richard Carlton, creator of FMTrain.tv, where every day we're doing awesome FileMaker training with the Claris FileMaker platform. So today is an exciting day. We have a new release of our free CRM, which is kind of weird. So people don't really understand it when I say that. Yes, it's free software. No, you don't have to pay for anything except you have to kind of own FileMaker, right? Beyond that, it's all good to go. It is available today. It's a new version. It's FM starting point. We're using the year because that makes a lot of sense. 2024. With that in mind, normally I just hand it off to Nick. Nick! Oh, wait a minute. It's Miles today. Miles, who are you and why should we care?
Hey, I'm Miles Debski up in Portland, Oregon. A lot of different RCC hats, but the reason I'm here today is I've been kind of overseeing the updates of FM Starting Point. And yeah, I mean, we got a nice new icon and we got some things to share. But I do know we have all sorts of people that attend our live streams. So I think we kind of wanted to treat it more just like a what is FM Starting Point and get into some more background details on it. And then we'll build up to what's new in this release, where we're going with it.
It's the starting point is our gift to the community. It's been this way for a long time, and people keep always asking me why don't I do more with it. And I said because of the amount of money that it brings in. Mostly, it's one of those things that that needed to be done, and we did it, and we've maintained it now for a lot of years. So, Miles, if you want to fire up the slideshow, we can dive into this. But the short version is, if you have FileMaker, this is a free CRM for you. So this is FM Starting Point, the 2024 release. This is totally free software, but you have to have purchased FileMaker to run it. So it runs on the FileMaker platform. And this has been around for a long time. This is my clicker. Thank you. So the history of this thing is basically that we started this. So this goes back to a guy named Rick Kalman, who is probably, arguably, one of the most important people at Claris. RCC was contracted, and this is, I guess, before Nick Hunter was involved down there with Star Solutions. We were contracted to do an update on their Star Solutions for FileMaker 10. And so we'd updated Michael Prescott, who works at Apple, or maybe he's retired now, we were doing the Star Solutions. And I said, well, they have a context file, an FMP12 file, and then they have invoices, and they have this projects, and they have all these separate files that don't really talk to each other. I said, man, this is dumb. These should all be in one file that talk to each other. And Rick Kalman took me aside and said, yes, I understand what you're saying, but that's not in the corporate cards right now. We don't have the money or the budget or the interest or whatever to do that. And I said, fine, we'll do it ourselves. So while my team was finishing the Star Solutions, I took another team that I personally paid for, and we started taking the solutions and bolting them together into a single FMP12 file. At the time, it was FP7. And so what came out was, with the release of FileMaker 10, was FM Starting Point 1.0. And that was an FP7 file. And then a year later, FileMaker, a year and a half later, whatever it was, FileMaker 11 came out. We had Starting Point 2, right? And then Starting Point 3 was the very first FMP12 file, right? So anyway, that's for the history of this. So in fact, I told Claris, I said, Claris, I will build this solution for you. You can give it away. You can give it away. And the executives at the time at Claris said, that's really great, Richard. But if you want to give away your hard work, we're going to scrub your name out of it so no one could ever know that you ever worked on it. I said, no. Unless if you're going to pay me for it, fine. But if it's free, then we get some sort of PR out of it. Welcome to the economics of one-sided deals, right? That normally results in people saying on the other side, give me all your money, give me all your labor, and then be happy with it. It's like, no. So, but that's worked out to the benefit because Starting Point became a thing. So let's move forward with that. So let's talk about what it's for, and then I might throw some of this to Miles here a little bit. This is our progression of learning. Are you a brand new developer? Are you an intermediate developer? Are you a super turbo ninja developer like a bunch of people here in this live stream? Where do you fit in this? Miles, we talked about this. Why don't you walk us through this?
Yeah, so those are different tiers there, and where it becomes relevant here is with FM Starting Point, we have different versions. There is a light version, there's our standard version, and there is enhanced. We'll get into these a little more later, but standard's the main one. If you go to our site, you go download that main one you're going to get is that standard version. Enhanced comes in our complete subscription with our training, has some extra features to it. And then light is literally what it is. A lighter version gets you just kind of the base modules, gets you started what you'd want from just like a core CRM. So if you think of those three versions where they kind of plug in here is our business owner that just, hey, I just want to be able to put my data in right away. Cool, grab light. It's not going to get complex. Same for the junior engineer. It's very visual. You can start to go under the hood a little bit, but once you want to get, either learn about it more or be able to change more yourself, that's where you're pushing more into intermediate, advanced. So definitely want the standard or the enhanced version at that point.
So licensing real quick. People say, how much is this? Totally free. I've said it's totally free. Is it totally free? What if you give it to your neighbor? It's totally free. What if I use it as a basis for my next amazing product that I'm going to make $1 million on? No problem. It's totally free. The only caveat you have is that you cannot give it away as a free CRM, right? Does that make sense? So we're giving away as a free CRM. If you take it and you want to build a base, say that Larry the Marine is here, he works in minor league baseball, he says, oh, I'm going to junk my old solution. I'm going to use FM Starting Point for this, and I'm going to give it away to all the minor league baseball teams. That's fine, but you have to change the name, right? It's not a free CRM, and it's not FM Starting Point. It's your thing. It's Peter Starting Point or Labos lost dog retriever rescue business or whatever it is. So just understand that you can't directly encroach is the right word, upon where we sit with this. But basically we're saying don't do stupid and give free away to people with the same name. So because there's already one dumb person in the room, that's me giving free software away. So the rest of you need not follow my example. It's not the smartest thing. If you want to be rich and famous, probably want to charge for your software somehow. So yeah, here's the conversation about performance. So the FM Starting Point Lite is the one I use for training. We've made some design decisions in it that will allow me to basically, we're pretty sure when we say about limits of performance, we're talking about if you take Starting Point and put it on a FileMaker server, the server doesn't have any issues, it's not overloaded, it's fairly close to you. How many simultaneous users can use Starting Point Lite? Probably up to 50. Most of you don't have 50 people in your organization. If you do, are all of them going to want to use your solution at the same time? If you have a team of 5 or 10 people, then the light one's fine. Okay. However, if you go and you get the standard or enhanced version, we've a couple things in there. There's a moment where simplicity and performance are contradicting kind of topics, right? So what we do is we said that with Lite, it's simpler to understand as a training tool. For sure, it'll support 50 people simultaneously. Standard and enhanced have performance improvements, a little bit more technical. For example, we don't put summary fields automatically on a layout because that causes performance issues and problems. So you have fields, and then you have to press the update button, which runs a script. It's pretty simple to me to explain it, but there's design decisions like that in the tool, if that makes sense. We know that the standard version, we've taken the standard version like 6 years ago with FileMaker 17, we had 281 people on it, and we couldn't get it to overload. So I had everyone do sub-summary reports at the same time to cause it to break. And it didn't crash the server, but it felt like it crashed because it started being unresponsive. And then the show was over. We all walked away. Some of you were around for this. And like an hour later, it resuscitated itself because it got caught up with all the requests to, all the people running sub-summary reports at the same time. So Claris has made a lot of performance enhancements. They say their tool, FileMaker, will support clients as many as 500 to 1,000. I have not personally done that, so I'm kind of hesitant in promising it to that many people on one server. But yeah, so for sure, I've seen many, many hundreds. So that's the idea with Starting Point. So let's move forward a little bit. Yeah, Miles, why don't you cover this part for us?
Yeah, language support. So back when, like Richard was saying, FM Starting Point has been around for a while. And I believe at the time it came out, FileMaker actually had different versions, language versions available as well.
They still do. They still do. Yeah.
And so we had originally made FM Starting Point in a variety of languages, which took a lot of time and resources, and not many downloads for a lot of them. So we've learned over the years kind of what the majority have been looking for. And so while United States English is the most downloaded one, that is what we have available today. We do have a couple other slight versions that will be coming very shortly. Next week, we should have Australian English available to download. And then in a couple weeks, just peeking into October, we'll have the UK English and also the EU. And the changes in those, it's not a massive thing, but it is mostly with the currency and was it the tax rates?
Tax is a little differently processed, and also dates are a little different
Yes,
on how
yes,
they're
yes.
organized, right?
Format, yeah.
Yeah, and then like decimals in some places is a comma, not a period. So if you have a whole unit, then you have less than a whole unit decimal. Some places that's a comma. So once again, they're all English, but they're variations on that. We at one point we had a Spanish version and a German version, Japanese, Chinese, all this stuff. We lost a lot of money building that because no one people want free software. They don't want to pay for free software, but someone has to build the free software. And so that's kind of what happened. We ended up building this thing, and it was kind of a bridge too far. So we've been supporting this now for like 10, 12, whatever. Someone go back and see what year FileMaker 10 came out. That was when we first shipped it. So in the future, at some point, so let's talk about the future, right? And I don't have any dates on this because Claris keeps kicking the can down the road, right? Claris should have a long time ago shipped out what we would they call XML2, but some of you heard me refer to as a Star Trek transporter. That's where an FMP12 file can be exported as effectively an XML file. So it takes a 10 megabyte or 10 gigabyte, or gigs would be a lot, but 10 megabyte FMP12 file, maybe with no data in it. You output as XML. Then you can go into the XML and change it. Like instead of dollars, put euros or pounds or something. Maybe do a global search replace because a text editor could change it. Then you suck that XML back into FileMaker. So you take it, you transport it into and down to the bits in XML, you monkey with it, and then you suck it back in the transporter on the other end, and out comes the FMP12 file, but with the little subtle changes you made. And so you could do substitution for words like that. For every time you see invoice, what's the Russian word for invoice, right? I don't know. Or Spanish word for invoice, or German or Dutch or whatever. So the idea is you could substitute words out, you could change currencies out. Claris has been toying with the XML2 for years, and they keep dabbling in it. And I'm never sure when they're finally going to fix it and finish it, because when they do, then that will change how all of us work here doing as a FileMaker developer. You'll be able to take starting point and take a couple modules out of that and maybe steal some sample file from another company, Productive Computing. We're going to grab their module, dump it in XML, bring it in, glue it into the starting point XML, then rematerialize them together. So it's like, two bodies that are glued together and it's not horribly disfigured, right? Crazy stuff. So that's in the big term and the long term, that's where this should go. It'd be great if they actually finish this feature, because then the developer community would be that much more excited. But since we can't really cross-pollinate this stuff very easily, someone says, whoa, you couldn't do that. Yeah, if you do some crazy command line on a server, on the right kind of server, it's not been final completed. It's not there yet. But when they do that, then we will say, we'll have an adapter that we build an adapter model. You just run it through the thing, and out comes the Spanish version or whatever, right? And then you build that adapter. It does this conversion, and you could run that conversion through almost any FileMaker file. Like, take this file, as long as you have all the words that would adapt to and the currency adapter, you could run through any FMP. I could see someone building a set of text swapper cheater things to change languages and sell them, right? And we would just buy that for $1,000, like Monkey Bread. Monkey Bread's going to do this text transmission thing and buy Monkey Bread, and it just does it for us, right? In fact, if Christian Schmidt isn't working on that, I'd be shocked already. So anyway, so that's where this goes. Let's see. Support devices. Miles, go.
Yeah, support devices. So you will see these as you open FM starting point.
Mouse is not a device. Please explain this.
Mouse is not a device. That is correct. So mouse is the term for desktop. So desktop computer, you are not touching your screen. You are using a mouse to click, meaning that things are sized for that clicking mouse. So you can have some smaller text and buttons, following design styles built for that in mind, for a mouse in mind. And so as you open up FM starting point, you go to your layout drop-down menu, you will see this whole set of mouse layouts, which is most of the ones that you're probably going to interact with. Next up is touch, phone, WebDirect. I'm going to switch, but touch is the next group. Just showing you that they're all within the layout menu there.
Touch. So what's touch?
So touch, so touch would be pretty much your iPads, right?
You're right. You're half right. You're not wrong. You've only covered half of it, right? This issue right here with the mouse and the touch is why this became a festering blister about 6-7 years ago. Touch also for those of you on Windows, because the Mac people don't think that we deserve touch screens. So one of those moments where I want to touch on a laptop or something. But that touch is so the buttons are bigger, right? And that's where Miles is going with this, right? So the buttons are interfaced bigger. So if you're Windows or you buy a Mac and you pay someone $1 billion, you get a touch screen, or you have a iPad, right? The screens are landscape 1080 kind of thing, right?
Yeah, so less data, but better for those big thumbs and big portals, things like that. And then phone is a phone. So this is a smaller set of layouts. It is not the full set like we have for mouse and touch.
All right, I'm going to test Margaret here. I'm going to test Margaret. Margaret, why is it only a subset of layouts? What was our decision behind that?
The idea being that you would only do a limited amount of type of entry on a phone in the first place because it's so tiny.
Why? You're right. Just expand upon that. Because
phones are not good data input sources. They're consumption. They're not information input.
People come to me all the time. It's kind of like QuickBooks. People come to me all the time. They say, hey, I want this all on phone. And then they get it and they go, hey, this sucks. This sucks bad. I said, dude, we had Nick do it. It's his best interface possible. It sucks so bad. I'd rather use my laptop or my iPad. And so since we know that, we know that you're going to say that, then we just cut the corner and say, here's a subset, right? And if you really want all the iPhone layouts yourself, build them yourself, but no one's going to use them, okay? They just don't get used, okay? Because everyone thinks the phone's great until you have to write a thesis essay on that for your PhD doctorate. Right. So yes, it's a horrible experience for creation. Consumption is wonderful. So that's the phone. And then WebDirect, I think, doesn't that use touch, I think, Miles?
I actually think it uses mouse.
We need to test that. I don't know if we can do that today or not. Did you try that? We should try that.
Well, I did open it up this morning and it was the new design, which I don't believe touch has the new design. So that's why I think it's using mouse.
Okay, cool. Let's push forward here then on that. Integrations, QuickBooks. Okay, QuickBooks is another one of those. Now I want to point something out very, very important. So this is going to be a quick test question. So forget the word I said, QuickBooks here. I'm gonna help this out here. Hang on 1 second. Can I draw in here? Okay, I'm gonna draw that out. Now, look at the screen over here, everyone on Discord, and tell me what these layouts are for. Specifically this one right here, and then this way over here. Tell me what that's for. It'll be a little test question. David Angel's typing. To sync what, David? Got any more specifics?
To sync.
I need details, David.
The student that's fallen asleep and just pops up. 42.
See, that's the problem, right? Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Peter Geens, thank you very much. That is the correct answer. So yeah, these are mislabeled. These are going to be changed. I saw these today and I went, these are all the layouts that are specific to QuickBooks. And so we have a QuickBooks integration. It happens to work with the productive computing product. If you want to do QuickBooks syncing, that's what that stuff's about. So QuickBooks is available in standard and enhanced. I think it should only be in enhanced, but it is in standard for the time being. Standard is the free one. Once again, this is the free over here. And this one over here comes with a subscription. So a couple $100 a year, helps fund Miles, it helps Margaret, keeps the wheels turning. That's useful. So that's QuickBooks. What else? We got PayPal. PayPal's an enhanced. This allows you to take an invoice and push it through to PayPal and have the money, kind of like almost like a credit card processing kind of thing, if that makes sense. We use it at RCC a lot. We use this for customers who want to pay online. QuickBooks has their own, but everyone who really uses QuickBooks, because QuickBooks has a CRM in it, it just sucks and no one likes it. And so we use PayPal, we integrate with PayPal, and because it works, we give it away. Calendar. We have the calendar.io is an open source calendar product. They have a free version, which is what's in here. It's a basic 30-day calendar. It works fantastic. It's useful for what most people need. If you need something more sophisticated, but we can demonstrate and look at this. We've seen this all before, but we kept this up to date. All right, cool. What else we got, Miles?
So now let's get into what's new for this release. So Google Maps API, we can dive into this if we want to. We also have a video that's on our website right now that basically goes through these items if you want to watch that. But the Google Maps API in the context module, you have your addresses at the bottom and the ability to generate a lat and long. And from that, we have a map layout where we'll show your different contacts in a list view where they are on that map. That was nice and broken because when Google flipped to charging for all their APIs, that basically broke that free feature. So what we've done is added a temporary key in there so you could see how it works, kind of see how you might want to use that for your business. And then once you create your account, you could put in your API key right there in the settings.
Yeah, the API, when we ship software for the most part, we want to have it work out of the box when you download a sample from us or something. And so this causes huge hand wringing and stress because our IT security guy doesn't want any of our keys to go anywhere. And so what we end up doing is creating a separate key that is not automatically connected to my credit card is the big thing, right? And so the idea is that we put some free dollars in there, like $50 or something, and then the demo works. And then for all of you, but as a reminder, if you start to use it like more than 10 or 20 times or something like that to play with it, you need to go to Google, get your own key for $5, $10 or free key, whatever, put it in there. Because I've actually had people who used our key that was built into it because they didn't read the instructions at all. And then they ran the free demo account down to zero, then no one got the benefit of that anymore. So that's kind of this ongoing kind of hand-wringing stress thing because we want the demos to be functional as you download and open them. And like next Friday is going to be the AI voice dictation demo, which kicks solid, it kicks every which way. It's awesome. But that requires an API service with an AI of all things. And it's super cheap. But even if it's like 1/10 of a penny for a demo run, Peter, Scott Schmiegel, Ed, Dimok, hey, how's it going? David, all you folks, I don't care if you spent 30, 50 cents, $1. I really don't care. Okay. But then the problem is that someone forgets, then they give it to their customer and it uses Richard's key. And then if I put $20 in the thing and it lasts for 6 months and then down to zero, it doesn't auto recharge itself because while I love you folks, I don't, I'm not going to bankroll your lives, right? So yeah, so that's kind of what happens. So just be thoughtful about the API demos from anyone, especially if they work out of the box. Most API demos you're going to get from other companies will not work out of the box. They're just going to say, go get a key, and then good luck. I hope it works. My goal with FileMaker is that out of the box, it needs to work perfectly, flawlessly, without any finagling or stroking or fixing or tweaking, or it just works. And then in an hour, a couple hours, it quits. If I could make these all work for all of you for 2 hours and have it shut off, I would do that. There's no way to really make that work. I can just set the API, hope it works, and then hopefully you guys don't run the piggy bank to zero.
There we go. Popovers. Yeah, so in the contact, or not just context, in the detail view, I think there's even some on the list views also. The little 3-dot hamburger menus. In previous versions, it looked like it was running a popover, but if any of you flipped into layout mode and got lost, you would find out it was not a popover. And with FM Starting Point trying to be a place for developers to start out with, we wanted to eliminate that confusion. And so those different hamburger menus have been turned into true popovers. And that's where you have different action buttons on there, duplicate, print report, things like that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. All of you watch Nick. Nick does a great job, but he went a little hog wild with that. And it's one of those deals where the design, with the beauty, what did he say? He says, I'm personally invested in the beauty of an application or a layout, right? And I think it was marginally 5% more beautiful, but 120% more difficult to understand. So it was one of those deals where the trade-off wasn't good. So we unwound that trade-off. But just so you understand, that's kind of what happens. We make something that's more performant, that's faster, or it's 20 or 30% more beautiful. What is the penalty for that in terms of understandable and people being able to support it down the road? I want things that are easy. Listen, can I be very clear? I want all of you to be successful. For you to be successful, I need to be as easy as possible. And anything that's hard makes me nervous and grumpy, right? Because I know that if it's hard for me, it's going to be harder for you, probably. Some of you are smarter than I am, it's fine. But I got lots of tech people I can call Jacob, call Miles, call Garrett, call Calvin. And so since you don't have that generally, I want it to be self-evident, right? Comment the code, make the APIs work. Don't have magical popovers that just spawn out of the blue sky and you can't figure out how it works. So that was what 24 is simplifying it a lot.
What's my latency? This is a feature added from Leland Long, who I know we've had on a bunch of streams before. This is in preferences on the developer tab. You'll see the button there to run this.
All right, what else we have besides that? We can spend a little more time on latency in a moment, but yeah, cover this one, then we'll bounce to jump in the app a little bit.
Yeah, so script naming, this is in the standard and enhanced versions. If you go into file manage database, look at the relationships. We've had this for a while where each of those table occurrence groups have a nice naming convention, T05 contacts, right? What we've done in these versions now is the scripts actually correspond with those. So if you go into scripts, you'll see a folder for contacts. They're all now T05, 0001, 002.
And then a serial number. So this is an
Exactly.
experiment. This is an experiment. I am not, to be clear with everyone, I'm not totally sold on it. But the engineering team thought they wanted to try this, and I didn't have a really great reason to say no. I didn't have any valid data on it. It's kind of like when everyone says, I want a phone, I want all the layouts on the phone, then they turn around and then they only buy iPads. Well, why did we spend all the money on the phone? Well, because we found out it didn't work. So the question is, does it really make sense? I need feedback from all of you. I really do. Does it work? Does it make feedback? Miles, is there anything after this? Can we jump to the app, or is there any other slide we have?
Just that there is and more. There was a lot of cleanup in this, more than we've done in other releases. And if you want to download, open up the README, they're all listed there. But I mean, as you know, these were misaligned for the last 3 versions. This button didn't work. A lot of cleanup like that, just to make it easier to learn from and just a better experience for everyone.
Yeah. So real quick, so go ahead and bounce and start up starting point. But Big Valley Aviation here. So I started with a copy of FM Starting Point Lite for these people, and I got to see all the little broken things. So as a result, that informs our decision making about the platform. It informs us on how things could or should work better. And if something's broke, I get to see it. So by me being out here with the helicopter people and going, like today, I found a bug in it. And it was actually a bug that we had. It was not in Starting Point, but I was like, oh, right? And it's like some bait, you press a button, it doesn't work. A delete button, it doesn't delete. Well, it didn't delete what it was supposed to delete. And I'm a little nervous it went off and deleted something else. It always makes me nervous, right? So yeah, so let's take a look at this real quick. All right, so this is the screen. This is the home screen. It looks the same, but this is, if you want to just take a look at the relationship graph real quick, and then let's show the script naming. Just, it's slightly different. So basic structure, you were there.
Just to show relationships. Yeah.
So here are the relationships. Anchor buoy design methodology. So then there's TO5 right there. So then so all the scripts that should have to do with this area over here are going to should somehow say TO5 on them, if that makes any sense, right? So we go down here, we close these up, and then there's the 05 right there. Does that make sense? And so that's kind of this idea that these folks went with. I think that makes sense. I'm not 1,000% sold on it. I might turn out to be in a year or 6 months that I think it's the best idea ever. I just don't know. I don't have an informed decision. So unlike some people, when I don't know, I tell you I don't know. I'm a big fan if I don't know, I'm going to tell you I don't know. If one of you folks knows, tell me what you think. I want to hear I want to hear what you think. Absolutely. All right. Next, Miles, what else we want to show?
Yeah, so that was the new thing there. The Maps API we were talking about, that's down here under contacts addresses. There's your lat long, and this will jump you over to this directions layout where you get the nice generated map. And I mean, again, this is just starting point. You can do more with maps. You could do more with this API here, but it's just a place to start, get some visuals, see where you want to go with it more from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally free. So you can go to, like, some of our competitors have used this with their customers, right? And I'm totally good with that. I'm totally fine. But it's funny because people are like, they'll compare, oh yeah, we're smarter than everyone. And then we're smarter than everyone. And they win these awards and stuff. And then they secretly sneak off when no one's looking and grab Starting Point, and they change the colors and the logo. It's like, it's our most amazing software ever. So I don't mind, because we know when that happens, we see it. We're like, oh, I know where that came from. I I just so all of you know, I'm up to about 1.1 million in US dollars investment out of my pocket or the corporate pocket, someone's pocket in this thing. Ed brought it up. It's 15 years old. Back up. We've rebuilt Starting Point a number of times in the last 15 years, but the genesis for this version is 15 years old, the idea. In fact, if you download it and you sign up real quick, can you show people, go to the website, Miles, and show them? So you go to the website. Okay, so download all versions. You press this button. You are going to add yourself to our newsletter mailing list. That's the quid pro quo. If you want free software, you can't do that. Then don't get free software. But this is kind of the minimal stuff right here. And then once you do that, you'll get a email. And then from that, you can see all the versions that go all the way back to like version 11, I think. So if you have, some of you still use FileMaker 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and there's a version of Starting Point here for you. Okay. Don't ask me for support on it because I can't get anything older than FileMaker, I think 15 to work on my 16 to work on my Mac. It just crashes. I have FileMaker 10 installed. It runs for between 2 and 6 seconds at a time before it crashes. That's it.
I still get someone asking like, when is the Euro version coming out? If we have one, and I told them
yes, the Euro version is okay. So the guy who was doing this went on vacation, or he's getting married or something. I'm not clear. And so Jonathan Hogel is out there doing whatever he's doing. I haven't talked to him. My team talks to him, but I don't talk to him. He is gonna middle of October is what he's saying for that. Another 3 weeks or something, 4 weeks or something, 30 weeks. So it's on the short list of things to do. What we do is we take the US English one, and we have remember that whole idea, that Star Trek transporter, where we could just run a process that would kick these out. We need the ability to run it through the Star Trek transporter. I press a button and it creates the localization, or the English with euros, or the Russian with rubles, or whatever the hell it is. I need that. That way, when you folks say, where's the version? I say, it's coming right up. I'm going to press a button and it pops out. Done.
Here is a question. Hi, are you guys going to update the iPad design layouts? It's got a different aesthetic than
Miles, that's another one. There's two things that have come up. One is that Nick came out with a bunch of nice design stuff in his iOS Go training, right, from the last month and a half. So those could probably be threaded in, would be one thing. The other thing is to go back and change the touch design layouts on here. So the touch design layouts, once again, the aesthetics are different. So this is an older aesthetic here. This is what we call flat metro. This aesthetic, if you want to put them side by side.
Yeah, just context and context.
Okay, so this is what they call, it's flat and it's called metro. It's kind of this idea. It still looks fine, in my opinion. This over here is the neomorphism, I think, a little bit. And by the time we fix this one to match that, then they'll have some new Gee Whiz
Super Beaver UI design.
Yeah, it'll be called, it won't be it'll be not neomorphism, it'll be beaverism, right? So it's furry and it floats down the river. Beaverism design aesthetic. I mean, it's like, actually, like, if you guys see the iPhones came out initially were kind of square edges, right? And then they went to rounded edges. Now we're back to square edges again. Sometimes we go in circles, but clearly this is the latest one. This is not the latest one, but I like this a lot. So I guess we could change it out. I have to write a check for someone to do that. Someone's asking me when I'm going to write personally, Richard. All right. I got to take out my credit card, my wallet here. Here we go. And I'm going to pay someone and start taking cash out of here. Start pulling the cash out. So yeah, so that's a good question. So people always ask me that. And so some, like, when are we going to do localizations that are more localized? I will never do them until Claris makes it easy for us to do them.
WJ Warner says, shameless plug, your guys' subscription is so worth it, and FMSP is great even before the current release. Thank you very much.
All right, WJ, we're going to send him a stack of cash for that endorsement. Thank you very much. No, listen, we kill ourselves even on the live stream every day, and we don't ask for much. So if you do want to support the channel, please do that. And if you don't have any money, then don't do it, right? So don't spend any money on us if you're broke. But if you have a couple $100 extra, get one of our training subscriptions, because we are going to continue to update that material. And we do greatly appreciate it. It does pay, frankly, Miles's time and Margaret's time and Nick too. All right. Other questions, comments, thoughts?
But yeah, yeah, I would say, like you said, if you want to support over here in the About, you could buy our training, leave us a review on Google. That helps us as well. And then subscribe on YouTube. And then again, as we've already alluded, we already are writing down notes on things to fix. Submit a bug over here. If you find something, that directly emails our tech support team, so we can get new things out. And then, I mean, if you want help customizing, this is a starting point. But yeah, you have ideas or you want to add more of this design to your file. I mean, that's what, our engineers are here for. So just email us at support@RC Consulting, and we'd love to chat.
Absolutely. In fact, some of you have copies of Starting Point you've deployed for customers. Yeah, but some of you ought to send a couple screenshots. We could include them on a tab or something, all the cool things, right, that have been done. Okay, so this is great. So, okay, so when you log in as a normal user at BVA, you don't see the Galactic Overload Beaver control, okay? That's Richard's button that only the admin sees, allows me to see other telemetry and stuff like that when I'm trying to QA stuff. But this is, you can see the design aesthetic, right? Go to like the work orders over here, Margaret. This is kind of, and then we started reorganizing things and reorganizing. And then I had these tabs up here, right? And it's like, we just took that design aesthetic. They're using this every day. In fact, now that I've got the AI-based dictation, it creates records in your form automatically. That's next Friday. Trust me, that'll be the coolest live stream you've seen in 6 months. This is like one of those, like, I have to have this. We're not going to give you this solution, but we have a sample file that works, and you can have the sample file that works if you come next Friday. And if you want help building it, then you have to pay for that. But we will give you the sample file that works. And then we learned a ton from that process. The people we're using a product called Assembly AI, the AI, and it's like one of those things you learn out of the box, like, hey, we're building this. And then the first implementation is, man, this thing sucks. This sucks. It's like it's like the very first, some of you don't even know, Miles was a 5-year-old. Apple had the Newton and it had handwriting recognition. And so Saturday Night Live came out with their joke. It was a post-it note that went on the refrigerator, and it said, you would write shop for eggs and get us some milk because we're running low on bread, and then it would digitize it. And Saturday Night Live did this thing where it digitized it and said, get hookers and blow and sell cocaine at the corner, because it couldn't do the translation very well. The stupid AI stuff did that initially. And we got a hold of the company, and their product is called Lemur, of all things, like a furry lemur. And I said, your lemur all over the floor. And they go, this sucks. And they said, well, what lemur level are you using? And I'm using a low-level lemur. And they say, well, if you use the smart lemur, then it'll work better. And I'm like, well, why does your demo work with the dumb lemur, right? And so we turn on the smart lemur, the smart AI. Guess what? It all works magically. It's like, oh, so much better. But it's all the things you learn. Oh my God.
David wants to know if the smart lemur can understand Spanglish. That's actually interesting. Like,
Margaret, can you jump to use the Beaver go to home, and then use the Galactic Beaver control override. Hit that, then hit
this is where my buttons went. Okay.
Yes, your Galactic override. So the customer can't see this. This is all next Friday. We're going to get this more next Friday, but this is beyond cool. Miles, I don't think he's even seen this stuff. So what happens is that the voice on FileMaker Go, you record it here, then it shoots it off to PSOS on the server, and the server takes care of this. I think someone did a test record. Mark, go to the latest record over here. So what it does a regular transcript, then it parses it out, because we told the AI we're looking for these things down here. So it takes the overall transcript, and then so these are steps, progressive steps down the thing here. So this one's kind of basic. Okay, so they were working on the helicopter behind me. You can't see, it's a red helicopter. They're looking at the oil, check the oil level, and you can't check the oil level because the little window is fogged over. So you have no idea if there's oil in it. Now, some pilots fly that way. That's why there's YouTube videos of crashes. Those people end up on YouTube. That being said, the mechanics see that. So then this is the voice dictation from this audio file. Then we said, what is it? And from the recording, it realized it said add a transcription. Scroll down, Margaret. And then there's a description down here, which is this. Now, they could have put this other stuff in here, but they didn't do it in the recording. Then down below that, if you scroll down even further, This is me taking over and going into FileMaker and then go further. It adds it. It goes into FileMaker and adds it as a record to work order W0328. So they did a data entry of a void ticket and they put it in their pocket.
A question. Are you going to add this to FMSP?
We're going to give you the sample file. We're not going to add to FMSP because this is all like our first steps on the moon. So I just landed on the moon for the first time with AI, and you're asking me if we're going to build a hotel, Marriott hotel on the moon. I don't know. There's a stack of cash. That is what would happen if I built every feature that everyone wanted a starting point. It's a starting point, not FM completely done, right? It's a start for you. I'm going to save you from starting from scratch. Miles, you have any parting comments? I mean, this conversation got way weird for you. Miles very quiet over there going.
No, I bookend. I finished mine. They're going to cut all this. So.
All right, guys, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Have a good one, everybody.
Thanks,
Goodbye.
everyone.